Hey, you guys, welcome back to episode 4 of Time to Pump and Dump. It is Thursday, and we are so excited to have you guys with us again for another episode. If you guys have been listening, we would love to get your feedback. Jump on, give us a review, like us, give us a thumbs up. Let us know what you're thinking. Reviews definitely help us out, so we would love to get some of your feedback. But we're happy to have you. We are episode 4. We're just rocking and rolling now.
Yeah, I actually wanted to start the episode off by saying happy birthday, because we are recording on your birthday. You're officially 29, the last year of your youth. How are you feeling?
Right? Okay, so I feel kind of weird answering this question because I obviously know that 29 is not old at all, but I think the life I live does kind of feel old. Like, I'm going to bed at 8:30 most nights because I have to be up with a baby.
Right.
But it's weird. Like I'm still in my 20s, but there are definitely some days where I'm acting 75. So I can't tell if I feel young. I mean, there's definitely some days where I do feel young, but that question is like, how are you feeling? Like I am starting to feel like, okay, I'm getting older. I know I'm not, but I feel it.
But 30 or 29 is a fun age. 30 is like the next big age. I feel like after it's like 21, you're like, yes, I can officially legally drink. And then the next big thing is like 25. For some reason, 25 was a big birthday.
Yeah. Well, and I remember too, when we turned like 23, 24, I thought we were adults. Like I talked to my dad this morning. He's like, how do you feel? And I told him the same thing. I kind of feel old. He was like, I mean, you are old. Like you have a baby, you have a job. Like, yeah. You are a full-blown adult now. But me and my mom, we got our nails done last night, and we were talking to the lady who was checking us out, and she was saying, and my mom says this too, she was like, 40s, best decade yet. So I kind of feel like you gotta, like, especially if you're raising kids, you gotta get through your 30s because that's when they're like young and screaming and probably driving you crazy. Your 40s, you kind of get your groove back and you get your life back to yourself a little bit. So I'm saying I'm wishing my 30s away. I'm not even there, but
right.
There's just so much to look forward to.
I have heard that same exact thing about the 40 decade, but I'm really excited about my 30s. I don't know what it is about being 30, but just for some reason too, like when I look back being younger teenager or even in college, and like some of the girls who were older than us in their upper 20s, I'm like, wow, you are ancient.
Okay, do you remember having an idea of what you thought you were going to look like or what you thought you were going to be? Like I always remember, for example, when I was 16, I just had this idea of what I was going to be like in my late 20s. I was for sure going to wear a pencil skirt to work all the time. Like I was just going to be this like high-powered boss babe, and now I'm working from home in my pajamas, not even putting on a bra some days. So, yes. But I had this idea of me like working in a high rise, and obviously with COVID, things are different anyways. But you like have this idea of what you're going to be like, yes. And then you look back and okay, I can get a pencil skirt on. I wouldn't want a pencil skirt on right now.
I'm not going to lie to you. Yes, I have always imagined my work like attire per se, like Dreamwork attire, just like the suit, fancy like suit, pantsuit, or like pantsuit and skirt. But I will say the very first day at my job here at our company, I wore a pencil skirt with a blazer and like a really cute shirt underneath, and I felt so chic. And then I walked into the office, and then our boss now pulls me in and he's like, just want to let you know that we don't dress like that here. And I was like, what?
In my experience, let's just say that, I had a boss that when I was not wearing that, he pulled me into his office and was like, I prefer when you wear heels and skirts. Okay, and
he sounds like a creep.
Okay, he was a super big creep. But speaking of my birthday, this actually happened. Okay, it was 2017. I left his office because my mom came in town for my birthday, and he texted me. I was on my way driving home, and he texted me. He was like, you need to come back to the office. So I'm freaking out because I left 10 minutes early, and he was like the person that you couldn't leave past 5:30. So I leave. I get back into his office, thinking I'm in trouble for leaving early. And he was like, are you ready for your birthday spankings?
No.
Yes.
Ew.
I know. I was dating Sean at the time, and he said a couple of weird things while I was there. And I don't know. I never wanted to say anything, but I can't remember what I did. I probably ran out screaming.
That's disgusting. What is it with you and like older men and inappropriate context? That's disgusting. Okay, moving on to a lighter note. What is your birthday drink right now? What are you drinking?
So I'm drinking a very cute, I don't even know. It's like a sparkling Prosecco.
Oh,
so
fancy.
Me and my mom, we went out. We just went to this place. So we were going to pick up some salmon. And I knew I wanted to drink on this episode anyway, obviously. Julie, guess how much this little 6-ounce cup is?
Let me guess. Did it come in a pack?
No, I had to buy them individually. Guess how much one of them was?
$7.
$9.
Holy cow. It is really cute.
It's so cute, super cute packaging. But going back to if I feel old, this is another time when I act old. So I was gonna buy 4 of them, and then they were like, "That's $40," and I was like, "Excuse me, how much is that?" I was like, "That's ridiculous. Like no one would ever pay that." I was literally acting like an old grandma lady. I feel like back in the day, I would have been like, "Yeah, it's fine," and I couldn't have afforded it.
Absolutely.
Now I can afford this, but I'm like, I don't want to pay. It's the principle. I could go buy a bottle of this for $16.
Exactly. Actually, touching base on that, when you came to visit me in California,
yeah,
we would go to our favorite bar, which was the Bungalow, the cutest bar right on the ocean. Like, I wish I could transport my body there right this second.
Me too.
A Corona Light there is $9.50. And we would go there like that was nothing.
Like it was nothing. I think that's just what you do. That's the difference of your early 20s is you don't have the money, but you're spending it, you're spending money on, I would say, overpriced drinks and maybe overpriced food.
You're drinking and eating your money.
But now I think as you just get a little older and now, especially with Sean being the chef that he is, we'll go out like steak dinner, for instance. I'm like, why would we ever pay this? Why aren't we just eating at home? Yeah. And of course there's like special occasions. Like we're going to go out tonight and get a really nice sushi dinner. It's going to be like good. I know. I'm so excited.
I was going to ask what your birthday dinner plans were.
Yeah.
Sushi sounds so good.
It's this place called Archie here in Dallas, and it is amazing. It is definitely special occasion type of meal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you only turn 29 once, so we're going for it. My mom's in town. I also have to give a special shout out to Sean right now. Speaking of my birthday, if you guys can hear this crisp sound quality, he got me this badass studio grade microphone. So if you're listening, thanks, babe.
Yeah, it sounds so good. I need to get that upgrade.
Well, we also have to point out that Julie right now is in a completely empty, vacant house. So
yeah, all of our furniture was removed from our house. So we're currently in an empty house. All we have is a single mattress, no Wi-Fi, and our 2 dogs. So when we were thinking about recording today, I literally was going to go to Starbucks, but then I was thinking, oh, well, I can't just be having a full-blown conversation in Starbucks.
That could have like created some little chatter, some buzz. People could have been like, "Ooh, what's this girl? She looks super official. Let me go get a follow. What's time to pump and dump?" I
would have been like, "No autographs, please. I'm busy."
Yeah,
you know, the whole thing. And then I was like, well, maybe I can just record in my car. But
the car idea wasn't a good idea. I'm excited that we still made this recording happen. It's super fun to be doing it on my birthday. It's like a little present.
Well, I'm so excited. Should we get into our pump and dumps?
Let's do it. Okay, so we just got back from Georgia. We flew in town this weekend to go celebrate. Actually, we had a friend's wedding on Friday, and then we just made a weekend out of it because it was Mother's Day, my birthday. I'll start with my dump. So we had to leave the house at like 6 a.m. early Thursday morning to get there on time. So we packed up the house the night before. We got kitchen ready. Everything was smooth sailing. We put Cooper, our dog, in the car, and we had got him a reservation at Pet Paradise. We showed up to Pet Paradise early, sitting there. We got there before they even opened. And then we knocked on the door, and Sean went in there to drop Cooper off. And they told us that they couldn't take Cooper, that we didn't have updated shot records, so they weren't going to be able to take him. And we were literally like bags packed, like dropping him off and then heading to the airport for an 8 a.m. flight.
So you had like less than an hour.
We had less than an hour.
Oh my
Baby was in the car. We had to get him a bottle at a certain time. So then we just start scrambling. Like, well, Sean is thinking, okay, let me just go ahead and drop you and Tipton off. And I'm like being calm, but that is very overwhelming because Tipton doesn't fly as well as he used to because he's squirmy. I mean, he's on the move now. So like a flight isn't where babies thrive. So I really didn't want to do it by myself. And I guess this is like a semi pump because I have it later, another one later. But the Delta lady, let me brag on Delta. The Delta front attendant saved the day. She could just see that we were a little flustered. Sean took us to the airport, left Cooper in the car with the car running, trying to get me and Tipton and our bags checked and everything. And she overheard us talking and she ended up pulling strings, rebooking all 3 of our tickets for free when it would have been, I think, $395 or something each. Yeah, $395
Oh
each.
my gosh.
So this trip, when I booked the tickets for $95, had gone up $300 per person. So she was absolutely amazing. She offered to take our dog. Like the stranger was like, let me just take your dog.
Who is the saint? You should leave a review on her for her.
So we ended up rebooking our flight. Then we had a godsend of a friend who ended up taking our dog because we were texting all of our friends, like, can you take him? And thankfully our friend Leah was like, absolutely. She already has 3 dogs. So she had 4 dogs this weekend. Wow. She took our dog, let us be able to go out of town. And then we brought Renita at the Delta at DFW, a girl friend, you're listening. Thank you. We got her like a $25 gift card and Sean wrote her a thank you note. But literally Delta or bust.
Delta or bus all day. We hate United.
So I'm never going back to Pet Paradise. Always fly Delta. That's what I learned from this weekend.
Love it.
And then my pump. So, okay, today's my birthday. Yesterday, we were getting out of the car. My sister and my mom were dropping us off at the airport and packing up and like I'm kind of, moping away because I'm sad to be leaving family, especially on my birthday. And my mom rolls down and she's like, wait, you forgot something. And she runs to the back and then she pulls out a big duffel bag and she's like, you forgot me. And
oh my gosh.
You obviously know my mom, just like the cutest little, you forgot me.
Oh, you sound just like her.
Do I? I'm not half as cute as she is. It was just so sweet because we never spend my birthday apart. I think we counted, like in my 20s, we spent 2 of them apart. So she flew out here. I know.
That is so sweet.
Yeah, and I have to learn, like, I told Sean, like, I'm glad I didn't look at your phone because I felt like I snooped through his phone, but I've definitely ruined some surprises by looking at his phone. Kept a big secret from me, and now she's out here celebrating.
Well, I am so proud of you for not ruining your birthday surprise because you love to ruin surprises. My pump and dump. Okay, I'm going to start with my dump because it literally is dump. Okay. The other day, Archie come inside from being outside and reeking of just something just disgusting. He had like rolled around, I think, in like a dead animal. We aren't 100%. We are not 100% sure what it was. So anyways, we had to give him an emergency bath because every room he walked in, like the entire house was being like overtaken by this smell. It was like a human butthole. It was so bad. It was so bad. Okay. So then fast forward 2 nights ago, we had just come back from the dog park and Archie was drinking from the toilet. When him and Louie love to drink toilet water over their own clean bowl of water that I just nicely prepared for them, whatever. So we didn't think much of it. And then like 5 minutes go by and Ruben's like, he's really getting into that toilet bowl. It sounds like he's dunking his whole head. So he goes and checks on Archie and sure enough, Ruben like screams, what is happening? And I was confused of like what had just happened. And Ruben told me that he had just gone in there and used number 2. He had just taken a dump. And Archie was in there. Yes, Archie was in there bobbing for his logs.
Oh my God.
Because he did not flush the toilet. This is 2 instances where, number 1, he had just rolled into a dead animal 2 days prior. But the big thing is like he's in there eating human feces, and I'm shook to my core because that's disgusting.
I am so grossed out. So grossed out.
So grossed out. And so like the first question, I couldn't stop. I was dying laughing. I was losing it. Ruben was furious, but I was like, well, hello.
Okay, but now, furious at yourself for not flushing?
You should have flushed the toilet. And he, to this day, he's like, I swear I flushed it. And I'm like, well, obviously you didn't because
definitely didn't.
He was sobbing.
That
He was
is
sobbing.
gross.
It's disgusting.
That
So
can be gross.
my dump is, if anyone has any tips on how to help my dog just not be so disgusting, like please send them my way. He needs professional. Okay.
Obviously, like I think you need counseling after that. Like your dog ate your husband's poop.
Ruben had the audacity to ask me if I wanted to bathe him.
No, heck no.
After his head was submerged in the water, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's your booty juice. That's not mine.
That's so gross.
It's disgusting. And then, so real quickly, I'll touch on my hump. It is, finally, I've felt some baby kicks this week. Yeah.
Okay, Julie, when you texted me on Mother's Day, so yesterday was Mother's Day, or whenever it was Mother's Day, you texted me that you were feeling baby kicks. I'm like, that is seriously the best timing to feel a baby kick. Like you will always remember now your first Mother's Day is when you felt his baby kicks. You got to write that down in your baby book, because I told you I can't remember anything from pregnancy in those first months. Like something happens to your memory loss. So write it down. You will forget that happened.
Yeah, we're so excited. So I just kind of want to wrap this segment up with wishing you a happy birthday. And we are so excited. I love you so much. And we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll have our guest star, Aleja, with us.
All right, guys, welcome back. I am so excited to introduce you guys to our next guest. So me and this guest star, we go back a couple of years, and honestly, since knowing her, I have seen her absolutely crush her modeling career. She is a content creator, and she is also a mom to seriously the most gorgeous baby boy I've ever seen. Aleja Briles is our guest, and I'm so happy we made this happen. When we started this podcast again, you were like one of the first ones that we wanted to get you on. You are absolutely, like I said, you are thriving on your Instagram. So we wanted to get you on. Kind of the main thing we want to talk about today is social media. There's some things, in your personal life we'd love to dive into. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. So I'm really excited. I'm going to add it to my repertoire.
Yeah, well, let us know if you absolutely hate it or if this was fun, and we'll probably have you back on.
Well, and I have my Coke as usual. You should probably add, she's also a Coke addict. But
that's so true.
Coca-Cola addict.
Yeah. Let's finish this Coca-Cola addict.
You should try to get sponsored by Coca-Cola. If you are like a total Coca-Cola fan.
You know what? If I could sell my soul to Coca-Cola, I would. They just have never responded. I literally DM them like a psychopath.
How do you kind of separate like doing your everyday job, like your 9 to 5 on social media, and then like being with your family and like balancing that? How long do you spend on social media, but also like giving that time to like your son and your husband to make sure that it's equal?
I mean, that's a really good question, because it can be really hard. Like some days I'm so much better than other ones, but because my job is literally mobile, like part of my job is responding to DMs, engaging with my audience, commenting back to comments, liking the pictures in the hashtags that I use, engaging with other influencers that are like me. And so my job is scrolling. Like my job is getting on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I hate it sometimes because I can do it at any time. You know what I mean? Like my husband is an economic analyst. For him to do his job, he has to be at his desk, crunching numbers, doing stuff in Excel sheets. Whereas like I feel guilty because I'll get in the car and it's the perfect time for me to have some sit down time wherever we're going. And I'm just like liking and commenting and blah, blah, blah. And Blake's like, why are you on your phone every time you're in the car? And I'm like, it's honestly the only time I have where I'm chasing Everest, and I feel bad. Like one thing that Blake and I kind of agreed on when Everest was first born is I remember like distinctly, like, I mean, you know this, Maggie, I'm kind of a hippie. But like, I just remember just like feeling like a voice, like whether it was like an ancestor or like, I don't know, Mother God, whatever it was, I just had Everest on my lap and I was taking a picture of him. And my phone was like right in between us. And I couldn't see his face. I could see his face through the screen. And I knew that him looking up, he could not see my face. And it was like such a distinct moment where it was almost like a voice was telling me like, your son is not seeing you. And I thought that was so much deeper than physically seeing me. I wanted him to like see me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, like we start looking at our kids through these lenses. And I remember when you and me had that conversation, because that was right at, I think I told you I gave up social media, I did a cleanse for 30 days because I found myself, I caught myself and like had really bad mom guilt, putting Tiffin down to bed, having a very sweet moment with him. But then out of habit, I picked up my phone and I started scrolling, even though the phone was behind his head, he couldn't see it, but he was staring up at me, looking at me. And then I found myself like looking at my friends' babies. I'm like, there's a baby right in front of me. Like it is, that trap is so hard. And for me, I don't get my income doesn't come from social media, but like, do you ever allow yourself to take that cleanse? Like Julie and I we'll do 30-day cleanses every so often. Like, do you ever give yourself a cleanse or you can't?
Yeah, I mean, really, I can't do like a long period of time. I mean, you guys will see like now with like the podcast where it's like something that you're trying to do consistently, you won't be able to all of a sudden disappear for an extended period of time. You know what I mean? You just can't. I'll try to do it like every Sunday. Like I do like a no social Sunday where I just try not to look at it. I try not to post on it, and I just try to give myself a break. So at least it's like one day a week where like that's not my focus, because like I was saying, it just felt like I'm losing out on like moments, and I catch myself Sundays are worse than others. Like sometimes I'll feed Everest, and while I'm feeding him, while it's like face-to-face time, I really, really try to like not have my phone or anything. But I do find myself like if he's playing and for the most part, I'll answer emails like on my computer, like at a desk, and he'll kind of play next to me. But then I catch myself like if he's playing and I've been in the kitchen doing something, all of a sudden I'll kind of stop at the counter and I'll be scrolling on my phone, and I'm like, how many minutes has it been?
Yeah.
Start feeling really bad. So yeah, I've been trying to do better at that, but it's really hard to answer your question. I hate it, but I just really, really try to like have like daily like catch ups with myself and be like, okay, like you're not doing great today, put the phone away for the rest of the day.
Right now, like I'm pregnant, so I can really only kind of put the social media like trap per se for me and Ruben in our relationship. Like I'll find times where the both of us are just like laying in bed and like literally it's silence for like 30 minutes because we have this device in front of our faces. And then I like all of a sudden I snap out of it and I'm like, holy crap, like, what are we doing? Let's engage in conversation.
Yeah, because it's like an alternate reality, right? That you're just like, oh,
you're like escaping.
Yeah.
Well, in the alternate reality, like I definitely get caught in the comparison game. And Aleja and I live in Dallas, and I feel like the blogger world in Dallas has absolutely skyrocketed, and some of like the really big bloggers are in Dallas. And so for me, I find myself comparing myself to like Aleja, you sometimes, like how many likes you get and everything. Like even you being, and you call yourself, content creator. Do you ever fall into the comparison game? Because I know like one of the best examples I have for me is I got engaged, and I absolutely love my engagement ring. But because I had like been looking at engagement rings, that was what was coming up on my popular page so much. And then I started seeing rings that were bigger than mine, and I love my ring. But then I remember looking, I'm like, well, why didn't I get a ring that big, that big? And like, why does it matter? I don't know who that girl is that lives in Detroit. Like that's when I start comparing, like her ring's bigger, her house is bigger. Do you ever fall into that?
100%. Oh yeah, all the time. I feel like it's impossible. Like Julie was saying, I feel like it's human nature to just get sucked into something. And I feel like it's impossible not to. Like for me, it was like, especially when I got pregnant. And then when I had Everest, I feel like a lot of people, I don't want to use the word like exploit, but I can't think of a better word. I feel like a lot of people will start making their content about just their kids. And one big thing for me was like, I'm still a person aside from being a mom.
Yeah.
Like, even though modeling has like slowed down ever since having Everest, mostly because I didn't lose the weight, but I feel like because it slowed down, Instagram was more like my job, and I still wanted it to be, as selfish as it sounds, I still wanted it to be me, my thing. And I feel like a lot of acquaintances and friends who had babies before, after, around the same time as I did, they started really like posting their kids. Everything was about pregnancy. Everything was about newborn life. All the videos were about newborn must-haves, blah, 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 blah. And they got a lot of followers from it. People love babies. Lots of people are having babies. And so they got lots of followers from it. I think if you want to be a mom blogger, that's a great move. I never wanted to be a mommy blogger.
Yeah.
And so I started comparing myself of like, well, like their follower count like skyrocketed. Tons of these people like really went up. And I was like talking to a friend and she was like, yeah, if I didn't have like a separate page for my kids where like I posted extra stuff for them, I wouldn't be getting paid as much from campaigns, because campaigns will ask me to post on both pages, because like her kids' pages have like 40,000 followers.
Right.
And she has
crazy.
like 100,000. And I'm just like, oh, like maybe I should do that, because then I could get, and I just realized like I'm wanting to be something that I'm not, and something that I don't even want to be, just because someone else is doing it. Just like I said, I kept having to give myself like a reality check and just be like, this is dumb. Like I don't need to do that. And if my follower growth is slower because that's not what I want to do, then I'm the one that has to come to terms with that. But I compare myself all the time, and especially to like other moms who like snap back. Like I told this to you, I weighed less than 100 pounds before I got pregnant, and now I'm 120, which isn't, I'm not overweight by any stretch of the imagination, but being 20 something pounds over what you've been since high school is like a little bit shocking to the system, like I literally weigh myself every single day and I'm like, why hasn't it gone down? But it's because I see all these moms who all of a sudden they're just like in their bikini the next summer, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna be wearing like a freaking moo to the
I'm one piecing and surrounding it all summer.
That's why I love the people who post on social media like that raw content, because for exactly what you're saying, like they give this unnatural idea to new moms like myself of how the social media world expects you to look when you're postpartum. But 95% of the women don't snap back into their size 25 jeans 3 months after they have a baby. And so that's where I'm finding myself right now, is having that comparison. Is I'm comparing myself to like women who are at the same stage of pregnancy as I am, and I'm like, why is my bump not as big as theirs? Like something must be wrong with my baby because I'm smaller. So I'm having to, it's a little bit opposite right now for me, but I'm having to like train my mind per se to, this is how my body is just going to continue through pregnancy. Going off of you talking about your son, who by the way is truly a baby model. When I saw him in person, I literally looked at you and said, can I take a photo of your son? Like, or is that weird? He is so cute. Because you and your husband remind me of me and my husband. You're raising your son in a multilingual family. And we're going to be doing the same thing. Have you noticed like any cultural differences, because you're Afro-Latina, your husband's white, like as you've been raising Everest together, were there any challenges that you guys faced?
I mean, I feel like I've in a way like assimilated, for lack of a better word, to like American culture, whatever that might be here. So as far as like culture shock, like that has kind of like dissipated, but there are definitely things, I mean, still cultural that like are very different. Like Latinas, especially like Latina moms, like very, very focused on like food. Like if your kid does not eat, it is the end of the world. And so like my mom will come over here and she'll literally make Everest like full on meals and be like distraught if he doesn't eat. And Blake is just kind of like, yeah, he had like a few spoonfuls of yogurt. And I'm just like, oh, like he has to eat. Like it's just ingrained in you. So like little things like that, we definitely find ourselves like running into. And then really, really making an emphasis. This is actually, it was really sweet. Like Blake and I made like goals for the next year on our last anniversary. And he was like, I want to be more like Latino. I want to try like the best I can to like really bring that into our family, because that's one thing that's been really hard, is like I have to have Everest be in touch with who he is as far as like his Latin roots. And it's hard. You're living in America. Everyone around you is pretty much white. Most of my friends are white. It's like you're around Americans all the time. It's just like American culture is pretty much mostly what they're going to get.
Yeah.
And I just really want to have our house be the place where he like gets in touch with who he is half of,
Yeah.
And so Blake and I are really trying to do what is called one parent, one voice, where one parent is just like the consistent, always speaks to them in that language, like no matter where you are, whether you're in front of other people, whether it's the shows you watch, what you talk to them out in public, whatever it is, what they're consuming from that parent is that one voice. So like I'm trying to be like, my parent voice is Spanish. And so whenever I turn on Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, I turn it on in Spanish. You know what I mean? I always change the language to Spanish so that he knows I'm with mommy. I speak Spanish with mommy. And then Blake will do like the Spanglish thing, because Blake doesn't have to just do English, but at least one of his parents has to have one voice. And that's been really hard because I'm so used to being here. And a part of you gets kind of shy. Like, I don't want to be speaking Spanish to him when I'm like in front of people who don't speak Spanish, because I don't want them to think I'm saying something. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want people to think that you're being disrespectful, or you never know who's racist. You know? To have
and the thing, if you're not actively doing it, like it gets lost. Your heritage can get lost so quickly from one generation to the next. Like my grandmother is Cuban, did not speak Spanish to my dad. So we don't know it. You know, my grandmother's name is like Isabella Maria Rodriguez Verson, and she came over here and she decided to change her name to Betty and really Americanize herself. She loved Betty Boop. Love Betty Boop.
Betty, no.
But now, as she's gotten, and I guess like later then in her adulthood, once she had raised her kids, she was like, oh wait, I'm very proud of my heritage. And then like it's kind of lost on your kids, because they're like, you can't teach me at 16. I literally have no idea what you're saying. So like, I think it's so admirable of what you're doing. And Julie, you're going to do the same thing. Like, you can't let that die with that generation.
And Ruben, I mean, just like you, like his whole entire mom's side is Mexican, and his entire dad's side is Colombian. So, you know, he'll be 50%, or our son will be 50% Latino. So for me, I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself, because I want to make sure that I'm also able to, you know, encourage him to learn as much as he can about his Latino culture. But even for me, like, I want to be able to speak Spanish to my son so I can also interact. And I have the Duolingo app, so you can only get so much from Duolingo. Like, it doesn't.
Well, shameless plug. You know, my sister and I have a company called Spanish Sisters. We do Spanish tutoring online.
What?
So we do like FaceTime Spanish lessons. It's like our little thing. So if you want to learn Spanish, we're happy to teach you. Seriously.
Let me lift my mouth off the floor. Because literally my husband was like, I'd always tell him, can you help me learn Spanish? And he's like, you should just go to school. So I'm like,
it would be great for you to have someone to practice with too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, we can connect with that after this podcast. That's amazing.
Julie, I remember Julie, like when we knew that she was going to get serious with Ruben, probably end up marrying him. She's like, my kids are going to like talk shit about me behind my back in Spanish.
Yeah. That's what I was so worried about. I was like,
know what they're saying.
I can't have my kids like running up the stairs, like calling me the B word behind my back, and me just thinking they're talking about how beautiful I am.
But no, you'll get it. And you know what? Like, I feel like you'll figure it out. Like Blake, he speaks Spanish, but he's like figured out what works for him. Like he'll have like his little keywords that he'll like always say to Everest in Spanish. And, you know, like it really works out. Like Everest's first words are probably an even mix between Spanish and English. So like, so far it has worked, you know?
Yeah.
Just do the best you can. Like that's the number one thing. Like on the days where I'm like, oh crap, I've been speaking to Everest in English, you just give yourself grace and start again. You know, that's like motherhood. That's so true. That's literally the epitome of motherhood. Like, well, I suck today. I'll go to bed and try again.
Well, I love it. Well, I look up to you and how you're parenting. I think it's absolutely amazing. Maggie, did you have anything else? I'll wrap it up.
I wanted to ask, do you have any like craziest set story, craziest modeling story that's like, what is going on?
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, yes, I feel like so many weird things have happened like in the past. Well, okay, so one, like the coolest thing, I don't know if you guys know Tan France from Queer Eye.
Yeah.
I modeled for him. And
no.
he directed the whole set. He took the pictures. He actually is responsible for like my serious face pose, because in Utah, like all the modeling I did was like boutique modeling. So it's very like smiley, like, you know, and he was like, okay, I need you to be like bitchy. Give me your best like bitchy face. And so I
That is
remember like,
him.
really like trying, and he was like, that's it. And I remember seeing the pictures and I was like, okay, like that's my serious face from now on. And then like months later, he was on Queer Eye and I was like, I know him.
Wow.
It was the coolest thing ever.
Very cool.
He is
awesome.
So nice, you guys. Like he's the best.
I was in 7th grade. I tried to be a model, and I had a classic 7th grade photo shoot with gaucho pants, kitten heels. There was a chair involved. So there was a lot of like sitting on front of it and the back of it, and just
I thoroughly enjoyed those photos.
I don't know what I was doing. Did I get any callbacks? No. But I remember thinking like, it's just as easy as standing in front of a camera and smiling, and modeling is not easy.
Yeah,
No.
well, anything can like happen. Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, it is hard. Like you come home and you're like exhausted because you're standing there. You have to like be on. Your posture has to be good. Your body's like tense. Like,
It takes a special person to be able to model, to be comfortable behind that camera.
it definitely takes a lot of practice because I thought I could do it at first when I started, and then I was like, wait, this is actually so much harder than I thought. I'm sorry, I feel like I have to tell you because now it's like it goes with like mom shaming. And I had just gotten pregnant and I had this shoot. And actually because of this shoot, I missed the Ariana Grande concert that I've been waiting to go to for like years. Anyway, that's a story for another day. But at this shoot, I literally like was just pregnant, probably like 6-ish weeks. And I was still like pretty thin. But we had to play like beach volleyball. So like I was like in a bikini and I was like trying on all these things. And like the wardrobe lady was like putting me in all this stuff. And one of them was like this low rise swimsuit. And I was like, hey, like, just so you know, like I'm newly pregnant. So like I'm not like super comfortable in like tight, low rise stuff.
Yeah.
And she goes, I was wondering what was going on with your body. I literally,
What?
Did you not? She literally goes, I was wondering what was going on with your body. And I was like, I'm literally like 6 weeks. Like I'm barely getting.
Had you ever seen this lady before? Was she familiar with your body? What the heck?
She had like all my like headshots and like my digitals. So she knew I was like,
how about you put it on?
Yeah. Well, and she was kind of bigger. So I was like,
oh, she was jealous, but also like, can I get a congratulations? Like, hello?
Yeah, no, she didn't say anything. She just said, I was wondering what was going on with your body. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us today. We loved having you on. Guys, if you're not already following her, check her out on Instagram at Aleja for all the tips on beauty, motherhood, travel, all things Dallas, and overall gorgeous content.
Oh, thank you guys. Thanks so much for having me. And like a classic Capricorn that I am, I have like 1,000 businesses going. But if you also want to follow our boutique, my mom, my sister, and I own it. It's called Shop Coco Dulce on Instagram as well. We have really cute, like trendy, boho-y type stuff. And yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much
for coming.